Welcome to Dolby Creator Talks. This is a show about how artists use technology to tell their stories, and I'm your host, Glenn Kaiser. Today, we are at Telemundo headquarters in Miami, Florida, to speak with legendary sound mixer JC Aguila. He's been with Telemundo for over 20 years during their rise to become a leading Spanish language broadcaster in the United States. Today we discussed how he got his start in the industry, the lessons he's learned as he rose to the top of audio production here at Telemundo, and some incredible insights into what he thinks is coming for live audio for broadcast. Here's my talk with JC. Thank you for having us. It's a great pleasure to be here. Tell me a little bit about your role at Telemundo. Like what do you do here at Telemundo? Kind of what's a typical day for you, if there is a typical day for you?
My role, I'm a network technical manager, audio technical manager. I work for the operation and technology team, technical production. And my normal day basically is from prepping what's coming next, meeting with producers, translating the production vision into the technical application, planning, and execute it. Sometimes I'm on the road traveling, and sometimes I'm prepping. Sometimes we being assigned to a project in the building, any special project. I'm part of the special project team.
Special project, meaning that you get all the crazy science projects, right?
Sometimes, and sometimes we collaborate with the normal day-to-day in-house. Sometimes they need some reinforcement. And some support, and we're always willing to collaborate because at the end of the day, we're one team, and that's the goal.
If there's a big live broadcast coming up, you'll start on that very early and sit down with the producers and try to figure out what's the setup, what are the challenges, how are we going to accomplish this?
Correct. Mostly on the entertainment side of my duties, yes, it's more time consuming also because first of all, we need to capture production, ambition, translate, start talking to vendors, talking to manufacturers to see what is out there that will be applied better. Calling vendors, calling the contractors, hiring the crew, and see who could be the better fit to what we're doing, and execute. Set up and execute the project.
So you've been with Telemundo since the early 2000s, it's been over 20 years, right?
Wow, no, it's over 20 years. Actually, to be precise, 29 years.
29 years.
Correct.
That is an amazing run. How has Telemundo changed in 29 years since you've
Changed
been
a
here?
lot. We have a magnificent facility right now, state of the art, thanks to Comcast and NBC Universal that we are part of that. I'm proud to be part of that. When I started in Telemundo was, small studios and another side of the city, and now we're here with a state-of-the-art facility.
But you actually got your start in Cuba, right? Which is where you're from. Do I have this right? You're third generation audio mixer?
Correct. Well, third generation of audio engineer or electronic engineer. My grandfather was the first telegraph guy in central Cuba. He was a master telegraph at that time. My dad became an electronic engineer, but his passion was sound mixing. And I remember when I was a child, be around, speakers and transducers, and I saw my dad building a preamps and an amplifier, and that when I tried to be an electronic engineer first, but my career changed into more being a production sound mixer and music mixer.
Tell me a little bit about your experience. I know that you got to work with your dad a little bit when you were a kid, right?
Correct. My first moment, and that moment defined my life, my career, my path. I was 14 years old, and my dad used to mix a show. It was a huge gala with a huge house band. During that time, 48 stage input was huge. Now we work 140 44 inputs in each side of the stage. My dad, I was looking at my dad all the time, asking questions, and the time comes. They said, "You're gonna be sitting tonight. You're gonna mix the show by yourself. I'm not gonna be telling you what to do."
He says this to you when you're 14.
I was 14 years old. 14 years old, and I was mixing front of house. It was a big gala in my city. And when I finished the show, I always tell the same story, but the console was wet all over. I was sweating. I was shaking, but didn't miss any cue, any point. The biggest reward was when the MD come to my position and give me a hug, because he saw me since I was a child. He gave me a hug, he gave me a kiss, he said, "Kid, you have so much potential." He said in Spanish, but "Kid, you have so much potential." So I was waiting for my dad. My dad was very strict, like a military teacher. I was expecting a big hug and a kiss from my dad. And he came to me and said, "Son, you have some, space to improvement. You need to keep going. You're not there yet." And everything fall into say, "Oh my God, I didn't." My main goal was to impress my dad, to tell my dad I can do it, because he tried not to keep me away.
He did try to discourage you from going into it.
Correct. You have to be a doctor. You have to be a lawyer. You have to be a scientist. This is not for you. He was trying, and before he passed, he did one of the things that I never gonna forget. He gave me a hug, he gave me a kiss, he said, "Do you remember that night that you mixed the show, your first show?" "Yeah, Dad, I remember." But I decided to forget that. And he said, "Well, I was extremely proud. I was crying, looking at you. You was right on point. You get into the desk. You play with the desk, and you control the desk. You was 14 years old, and you control the desk. Not the desk control you. You dance. Your relationship with the console was something unique." And I keep it for my reference, and I try to fill his shoes every day. And always, when I walk from the show, was good, but not that good. And I always hammer myself to raise the bar, to improve the sound quality, to be better.
I love what you say about dancing with the desk. That's a beautiful image. And I think that a lot of people, when they think about the kind of work that we do in this part of the industry, they call us like audio engineers, or they seem to think of it as a very technical field, but there's great artistry and storytelling and creativity in audio mixing. And I'm taken by that image of dancing with the desk. I love that.
And I applied that later on when I went to college, that the project that was assigned was radio. So I have to create the story for the radio soap operas back in the days. And you have no video reference at all. It was radio. So you have to create to keep your audience, following your story. That helped me a lot. Sometimes we cliche that we're technical, and when they call, "Oh, you're a mixing engineer," yes, it's a science or related to science, but it's the the artists behind that. If you're not doing your job properly, if you're not committed to what you're doing, if you're mixing sports, or if you're mixing a band or a musical show, you're not producing what it really needs to be.
Yeah.
Or you're not reinforce what needs to be telling.
You mentioned earlier where we are, Telemundo headquarters. This is a state-of-the-art facility, but I know that you were really involved in building this facility and designing it. So tell us just a little bit about this facility, and there's a lot of different kinds of production going on here.
I wasn't the direct part of the team who built the facility, but I give a lot of inputs into what it needs to be taken in consideration. The NBC team and the Telemundo team work alongside with some contractors and engineering firm to build this facility, and was tailored of what we was doing at that time, and with the potential to expand. We went to a few trade shows to see what is out there, what is the best, and what can we do better with the technology, and ended up with a magnificent facility. So many studios, we have production control rooms, finally audio control rooms that we always battle for, to have our own space to translate basically what you see. You need to hear, you need to tell the complete story. That's the main part of the audio, because audio is not only what you hear, it's a microphone, it's a radio frequency device, and that's a communication infrastructure. And you can imagine 1 second that the stage manager cannot communicate with the director. What's happening? So that's audio. To me, audio is a very complex. I could say more than 50% of the final product.
One of the things that I've been so impressed by here at Telemundo during our visit today is sort of how forward-thinking, you are here, and about anticipating what's coming in the future. One of the things that surprised me was that there's telenovela production happening here in this facility. I didn't realize that happened here at this facility, but I know that a lot of soap operas are being produced in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, which is just amazing. So I wanted to ask you kind of, why do you think, for telenovelas, why is it important to have HDR imaging, immersive sound be part of the storytelling?
You're providing to the audience high quality vision product. You need to complete the storytelling have a really good sound design and complete the story with the right audio. And that's not other way to do it. That's the only way to do it. And we care about our audience. We are all the time looking to see what is best out there that we can improve, and always we have some bandwidth to improve quality and to deliver a better content.
You touched on this a little bit when we were talking about the telenovelas, but I know that you've been really pushing for immersive audio in programming here at Telemundo. And so I just want to ask you, why is immersive audio important from the audience standpoint? What do they get out of that kind of immersive audio?
You have to have your audience get into the screen. If you don't do that, you're projecting some disconnection. It's not connected. You need to get your viewers inside the room, inside the action. And not only the big movies, big action movies that you hear explosion, that. It's details of minor thing that maybe some percentage cannot capture. Yeah. But it's a commitment that we need to engage the audience, have the audience inside. And the only way to do that is using the technology and apply the technology.
What excites you about Dolby Atmos and the possibility of Dolby Atmos as a storytelling tool?
It's amazing because, again, with that technology, we could engage more the audience into the story. I remember many years ago when Star 5.1 that was watching NASCAR or F1. I totally forgot. That sense that you're in the middle of the pit and you hear the car, it was something like watching movies, the blockbusters movies, the action movies. You hear that, that sound design was amazing and make you be inside the action. That space between the screen and the couch, we have to close it. And the only way to close it was to create an immersive environment that you be, the terminology says all, immersive. You have to be inside the action. And again, that technology has been evolving so fast that I remember many years ago when we used to roll tapes, is Dolby on, Dolby off, and it's completely, I remember that noise reduction, say 25 years ago, maybe more, and now it's a completely game change. And we committed to delivery. We need to make sure that story is completely, if you're not showing your audience what's happening on the field when the team kicked the ball, or when you have an award show, you see the drummer and you have a close up to the drummer and a travel back and forth to the drummer. You don't hear, and not only on your front speaker, you should hear blended with the audience in the back and give you the depth feel of the image. I like to have for example, in the sports, my commentators in the action, get in the field, and you hear that dimension. Even if you're on a stereo transmission, I need to create that depth, the depth image, the sound image into my mix, and not have my commentators by themselves.
I want to touch for just a moment on your work on news, because I know that you've done a lot of news work before, and you've won some Emmys for your work on news. And so tell me a little bit about your approach to sound for news and how that might differ from like a sports broadcast, obviously.
News is a unique, let's put it that way, it's a unique animal. You have to tell a story as well. Sometimes audience see it, an anchor sitting on the desk, and that's it. That involve a lot of other reporters around the area talking to, and we've been covering news since Telemundo, and I have the honor also to participate, to collaborate with news since many years ago. From Pope visit, Pope tour, we won an Emmy. From the presidential inauguration, elections. Lately, we did last year the presidential election in Mexico, and we did the inauguration as well. We was exposed to a very loud environment at the Zócalo in Mexico, so it was loud.
That was a challenge.
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
It was windy as well, so wind factor was hitting us hard, and I have to work a little bit more, and to accomplish, to have a clean sound on the air, and we accomplished. We were extremely happy with the outcome result. But that's part of the news. Is you're not planned completely. You have the news. You have so many last minute things that happens.
Yeah.
Say it's a process. People protesting down there is too loud, or you have people screaming on the mic. We have a big line array hitting your way, and you are telling the story, and you have maybe, and the few inauguration or election as well, we have few talent on the desk, and guests and analysts, and it's a bunch of microphones open, and you have to work around. Technology always help a lot, but you have to do your work as well. And news is a unique, it's a little bit different. Planning and execution, yes, is pretty much the same, but it's not a control environment,
Right.
like we do in a musical or sport broadcast. That the quarterback's running, and you're gonna hear that. You're gonna hear that when soccer they kick the ball, and you hear that people screaming as it's a goal. excitement plus the commentator.
Yeah.
And it's a huge moment, it's a huge battle. News is different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And you have to make sure that you complete the story.
So while you've been at Telemundo, this has become one of the leaders in Spanish language broadcasting in the United States. And so I just wanted to kind of ask you the question, what do you think is the secret to Telemundo's success? Why is this working so well?
Telemundo takes seriously the audience and respect the audience. And that's one of the things that, thank God, never change. You can change management, but that never change. And that commitment, obviously, from management to management, they adjust, they try to add their flavor, which is completely understand, but the commitment to the audience, and we take seriously the audience. From the soap operas, from the reality shows, from the news, from, since 7 a.m. in the morning that we start producing live content on the air. And that commitment is it's payoff on and have a strong audience, and every time keep growing and growing and growing and being leading content in the Spanish industry.
Yeah.
Commitment and respect for the audience. I feel that disrespect, if you have a bad audio, if you don't have a good source and a good product into your audience, if the audience turn the TV and hear some kind of noise and not clearly what they said, it's disrespectful. We take that seriously. We've been on the constant looking the way to improve and to do better.
Yeah.
And that's one of I can speak from my end, that's the commitment that Telemundo has with the audience. Respect, and they follow us.
JC, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Sir, the pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Many thanks to JC for joining us on the podcast today, and an extra special thanks to our friends at Telemundo for helping us put this conversation together and welcoming us into their beautiful facility here in Miami. Be sure to check out the impact of JC's work by tuning into virtually any live broadcast on Telemundo. And if you'd like even more conversations with artists and filmmakers about how they use technology to tell their stories, be sure you are subscribed to Dolby Creator Talks. You can find links to our show on all the major podcasting platforms, including the video version on YouTube, in our show notes. Or you can simply search for Dolby wherever you get your podcasts. If you're curious to know more about what we do at Dolby Creator Lab, head on over to dolbycreatorlab.com. There you'll find information about all of our programs. You can access the entire library of episodes of the show, and you can sign up for our mailing list. Until next time, this is Dolby Creator Talks. I'm your host, Glenn Kaiser. Our producer and editor is Michael Coleman. Our executive producers are Amanda Schneider and Jack Ferry, with additional editing by Matt Nixon. And our production coordinator is Karen Marroquin. Thanks for joining us.